Azrael is directed by Katz, and it stars Samara Weaving. And in this new horror movie, set years after the rapture, a devout female searches for a younger woman who has escaped imprisonment. Recaptured by its ruthless leaders, Azrael is due to be sacrificed to an ancient evil that lurks in the wilderness. Azrael was a movie that I was quite intrigued to see. I've seen a lot of YouTube critics at film festivals saying how decent it was, and the reason I was really interested was because of the idea. Years after the rapture, people can't speak. Great idea. And it came out on streaming, which is kind of annoying. I would have liked to see it in cinemas. I watched it yesterday, and I must say, well, I was happy. I don't think it met my expectations, but I still was very satisfied by this movie. The movie doesn't offer anything in the way of like character development or anything like that. It's a very simple revenge story in this post-apocalyptic world. And while I don't think it had that many ingredients to make it like, wow, I still think the simple story worked really well by the end of it. What really worked was the atmosphere. There's not many jump scares, and when they are easily the worst scares of the movie. But the movie tries to use atmosphere more than anything, and I gotta say, it used it really well. There's many sequences where you're like biting your nails near enough, very tense. One scene especially where it really hit into claustrophobia. As you know, I'm very claustrophobic, and that scene was just wow. So there's moments like that, and I think the surrounding wilderness environment really helped bring more dread to the movie, as you don't know if something's going to come out of the darkness or not. However, one thing I will say is that the setting of this movie does diminish the idea that this is set after the rapture. The only like remnants we can find in like a post-apocalyptic world is a few wrecked cars, a few abandoned ruins, and a campsite that uses different materials to protect itself. Other than that, this kind of just seems like it's people who don't speak hunting each other in a forest. Now, this is probably because of budget limitations. I don't know the exact budget, but after a bit of research, I've seen $12 million. And if that's the case, then it's not really big money in terms of movies. So obviously they can't show like big buildings crashing down or anything like that. But still, just the surrounding forest and only setting the film in that area kind of just took away the fact that this is set after the rapture. But if you just see it as people hunting each other down in the forest and it's a simple revenge story, it works. It still really does work. As I said, the horror works really well. But the action, which is mainly during the third act, was all done really well too. Apart from one action scene where they just use a lot of quick cuts. And as you know, I'm getting really sick and tired of that now. But overall, the action was really good. However, there was one good action scene which had really interesting music choices. I don't know why they used that song for that scene, but it felt really out of place. And another thing I liked about this movie was how it was shot. This is a very dark movie. The only lighting they have is mainly from campfires, and when it is natural lighting, it's very dim, so you still see a load of darkness around the characters. You don't know if something's going to pop up. Overall, I just like the dark look of this movie. It really just filled this movie full of dread. And the gore effects in this movie were really good. This was more bloody than I thought it was going to be. We're talking heads decapitated, throats ripped out, arms being pulled off. It's all here, people. And I will say that the gore effects were really realistic. And I must say the performances were all really strong too. There's only one person that talks in this movie, and it's only for a few minutes, and it's in a different language, and you don't get any subtitles, so you don't know what he's saying. But everyone else did a fine job, even when they weren't speaking. Samara Weaving, great actress, big fan of her. She did a great job in this movie. And one thing that I think everyone pulled off really well was with the no speaking aspect. When people scream, it's very silent. And I must say it kind of hit harder than normal screams in movies. When you try and scream but you can't do it. And I think they pulled that off really well here. So overall, while Azrael didn't really live up to my expectations, I still thought this was a very solid horror movie. It's got a good concept, it's got some good scares in there, good action, the ending is great, brilliant gore effects, really well shot, really well acted. Honestly, if you like horror movies, I'd give this one a watch. It doesn't have much in terms of the way of substance, I'd say, but I still had a good time with it, and I think you will too. So overall, Azrael is going to get a very solid 7 out of 10 from me. And guys, that's it for the end of this review. If you have seen Azrael, let me know your thoughts on it. Did you like it? Did you not? Let me know. But I hope you all enjoyed this video. Have a good day. And see you later.